Hi everyone, my name is Laura Hackney and this is Jessica Hubley, and we are the co-founders of AnnieCannons. So AnnieCannons is a nonprofit based here in San Francisco, and we are a coding boot camp, but we are specifically for survivors of human trafficking. So the Justice Department estimates that around up to 18,000 people are trafficked here in the United States each year. And actually all of our students, well, most of our students were born here in the US. They were all actually trafficked here in Northern California. So what we do is we reach out to aftercare organizations and shelters here in the Bay Area that are able to provide housing, nutrition, medical services, legal aid, counseling services, but they aren't able to provide job training. So they aren't able to help with that key reintegration piece. So we reach out to them and we get referrals for students that are interested in joining our program. And then we work them through our two-phase curriculum. So we start off with personal finance, digital literacy, what is the internet? We go through all of these modules to get someone up to the point where they're able to work in any 21st century job that requires technical or just basic technical skills. And then we start off with the second phase of our curriculum, which is introducing people to the key concepts of web design and web development. So we go through what programming is. We start with markup languages. We go through HTML, CSS. Then we do full stack JavaScript. So we go full into mean stack. And then we continue with Python or mobile apps, depending on what people are interested. Some of our students branch off at design. We're really excited to show them the demo and everything we just saw tonight. And then some of them do go on to the full web development. So Jess is going to talk about what the next steps are for them and how you can help.
So unlike other coding boot camps you'll find in San Francisco, we take a lot more on with our students as far as their practical experience with coding and actually building products start to finish. So one of the first things that we ask students in literally the first week of class is, what are some problems that you've seen in your communities or in your lives that you think could be solved with software, or you don't think can be solved, but let's talk about them. And we actually work out projects that we think will help address the problem in the most impoverished, most discriminated against communities in this country and hopefully eventually the world. So those become our practice projects. And we actually prototype them, we talk to the students and talk about the software lifecycle on those projects, and we go through and code them. We don't do that alone or only with the students. We have a great force, and it is growing, of volunteer developers and designers who participate with us in that process, as well as volunteer developers and designers who help us build out the second important part of our business model, which is the workplace. So we aren't just a coding boot camp, we are a workplace. That is a growing piece of our business, and that's for a very particular reason. Our students face a number of barriers to entering the tech workforce successfully that are something like an amplified version of what people of color or women face in STEM fields generally. A lot of them have arrest records of their own, of no fault of their own, right? And may speak differently or may not have the classic secondary education that you expect, but they can be great coders. And to let them be successful as great coders, we actually handle client development work, we handle project management work, and we simply hand off discrete pieces of the development effort to our students, pay them for their participation in those efforts, and help them start building up their bank accounts, their client portfolios, so that they do choose at some point to go seek a tech company job. They actually have a portfolio, they have a populated GitHub account, and they're ready to roll really in a much more advanced place than somebody who come through a Dev Boot Camp or a Hack Reactor, both of whom are our curriculum partners and we love. But we're looking at actually not only helping them build technologies that are important to them and follow exercises that are meaningful to them and their circumstances, but also add a little bit of practical experience. And that allows us really to curate a workplace that's totally novel in a lot of ways. All team-based management, all on-demand work. You can work 10 hours a week or 60 hours a week, depending on how much money you want to make. There's always a mentorship relationship, and everybody's got childcare on site, flexible work hours, things like that. So with that, we wanted to, sort of, I guess, humbly come to you guys and ask if you are interested in learning more, to reach out to us. We'll answer any questions that you may have, but also to sort of suggest some ways that you can dig in and help if you want to. They start with very simple things, go to much more involved. Something really simple you can do, if you buy a lot of stuff on Amazon, use smile.amazon.com and pick us as your charity. We get a portion of the proceeds, little things like that. We are in the process of loading all of our curriculum, our exercises, our evaluations into GitHub. It's just GitHub/AnnieCannons. If you want to go on there and look at our exercises and tell us something you think could be better or add a bonus question, please do that. You can also write exercises or evaluations if you think you have a really great way of figuring out whether someone's really grasped HTML and CSS. Some JavaScript concept, go for it. We would love to see your pull request. We also do portfolio chats, specifically with designers and front-end developers, where we show our students your portfolio. We ask them to identify some features or functions that they think are really cool, and then we ask you to come talk to them or to remote in and talk to them about how you built those features. The fourth and the most intensive way that you can get involved is to actually pair program with the student as your apprentice on one of these client projects. That's a much deeper process, and that's an alliance that we're building out over time, so please come up and talk to us after if that's something that's compelling to you. And obviously, donations always help. We are a 501c3, so all your donations are tax deductible, but your donations in kind are also very, very much appreciated. Carlos, if I don't see him here, left us a great box of books that we're taking to the students today. That's great. Adobe, if you guys want to throw out some free licenses for us, we love those too. But we're happy to have your ears for just a moment, and want to give you just a couple seconds to ask a question or two if you have them. Yeah.
What you're doing is extraordinarily important. And have you thought of, I'm asking a mundane question, approaching Google and maybe getting a grant?
We're working on it.
We have. Yes. We're early stage as nonprofits go, so a lot of institutional funding has some criteria like operate for 2 years or et cetera. But believe me, we haven't forgotten about Google grants. Yeah.
How many clients would you have, like, in a day?
So students? Yeah, so we're actually building multiple cohorts right now. Our pilot group was just 6 students, and that takes about 3 going through the advanced curriculum elements.
We'll generally keep our classes around 10 to 15 students at the most per cohort.
Yeah, to double the measure of students, double the number of workers, we're looking at needing to hire another instructor, and that's obviously a funding question. So, anything else?
What can I do as a designer volunteer to help you?
You can do a lot, actually. So, right now, the client projects that our students are able to complete are purely, essentially static websites, maybe simple form submissions. And so we're actually building out client projects for that now. If you want to pair program, pair design with a student on that, we would be happy to have that. We're relatively heavy on the developer side as compared to designers, so it would be great to flatten that out.
Are you guys going to be around after the presentation?
Absolutely.
Yep. Get posted in the
Okay.
Yes. Would you be interested in guest lecturers?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, definitely, yeah. We have a guest lecture form that we can send out to you, where you can talk about what you'd like to talk about, the kind of skill level where you'd want the lecture to be targeted to, and then we actually do have about a 30-minute webinar that we ask people to watch before they come in and speak to our students to kind of learn more about what the classroom is like, what it means to be trauma-informed, and some of the protocols around interacting with students.
Yeah.
And if so, are you looking for volunteer tutorial and/or technical writers?
So we have a lot of written materials that we work with the students, but they're usually around the evaluation exercises. But please come talk to us, or there's a contact form on AnnieCannons.com that any of you who have further thoughts, if you want us to reach out by email later, we're happy to do that.
A lot of our curriculum materials we've in-licensed from Hack Reactor and different organizations like that. Actually, one of Hack Reactor's programs was actually to teach coding skills to inmates at San Quentin Prison. So a lot of our processes, as I'm sure a lot of you know, there are tons of resources out there to learn different aspects of web design and web development, but it's curating those resources and making them really work for the population that we're trying to teach, because a lot of the examples talk about things that they've had no experience with in their lives or they can't relate to. And so just taking a lot of the materials out there and making it work for the students we're working with is really helpful.
In addition, where most of our students, they varied in the amount of schooling that they had, but many of them might have left school, and many trafficking survivors in the United States left school around 12. That's the average age that someone's trafficked in the United, or enters into a trafficking situation in the United States. So they don't have a lot of experience with the traditional classroom model, where there's a book and a text, and you study and you memorize, and there's an exercise. So we're always trying to make things interactive. More than a written tutorial, we're looking at a game that we can play as a group to cover a concept of JavaScript, right? And so that kind of thought is something that we're always welcome. We really are trying to crowdsource this curriculum because it's our belief that if we come up with an amazing trauma-informed curriculum, that it's something that could be applied to less privileged populations all over the world. And we hope to be a part of that one day too. So, thanks guys.